My name is Elizabeth. I'm a master knitter who's been knitting for about 17 years, and I want to show you all of the most intricate, I'm full of shit. My name's Elizabeth. I'm a yarn gremlin who's been knitting for about a year and is real bad at it. I'm really good at spending too much money on yarn, and I'm really bad at everything else. But if you are tired of seeing all of these incredibly beautiful, inspirational whips all over YouTube, and you want to see somebody waste months of their life on something that ends up looking like a child could have made it, then you've come to the right place. Before we get into it, I'm sure you're wondering what I'm drinking. I'm not drinking tea because I hate it. I'm not drinking coffee because I don't do caffeine. It freaks me out. Only things I drink, really, 3 different types of beverages. This is the morning, so I am drinking a Barabelle's chocolate protein shake, which is my breakfast every morning, not because I'm like a bodybuilder or anything, but because frankly, it's early and I'm too tired to chew. That should sort of sum up the energy that I bring to everything, including my knitting. So, you should know something about me, which is that I have been trying to knit my husband a Henley for 6 months, maybe 7, maybe 8. It's not working out, and it's not the sweater curse, because I knit my husband a sweater for Christmas and I did it in like less than a month, and it only kind of sucked, but I finished it, and he really likes it because he really likes things that look handmade, because I guess they look like they were made with love and not actually a large volume of profanity, which, you know, works out well for me because I'm not a process knitter, I'm not a product knitter, I'm a secret third thing, which is an autistic person who knits to stim, and I'll probably make a video about that later. But anyway, been trying to make a Henley for my husband forever for a couple of reasons. 1, Adam is extremely attractive. This is just objective fact. 2, men in Henleys look very attractive, or rather, Henleys are attractive on already attractive men. Therefore, putting a Henley, attractive Henley, on an attractive man, no brainer. Everybody wins. It's good for me, it's good for Adam, it's good for people looking at Adam. But that's sort of the last thing that went right. So I started working on a Henley for Adam relatively early in my knitting journey, as we like to call it. And I didn't know how Ravelry works. I didn't realize that you could sort patterns by the number of projects. So I just looked for something that I could knit flat, because knitting in the round freaked me out. And that seemed relatively easy. And so I came across a pattern called the rough cut. And boy, was it rough. I don't know that the problem was actually in the pattern. I'm not sure, there aren't any reviews of it. The only other project has no pictures, but the comments on it were effusive. It was probably a me problem. I probably was not advanced enough to work on a project with a pattern that had no examples, not even a test knit. I spent a lot of time zoomed in on the pictures in the PDF trying to figure out which side of my fabric was the side that was the right side in the pictures. It was a textured stitch. My first time not doing anything that was garter or stockinette. I really messed up that a lot, and after a few months I had to stop because I realized it was making me like knitting less. Now this is actually from a really beautiful yarn that I want to show you before I show you the horrible atrocities that I did with it. So this is a yarn called Baya by Lang. So this is I think 74% cotton, some amount yak, which is my favorite, I'm a yak girly, and some amount merino wool. And I normally don't like knitting with cotton. It doesn't have the same bounce and give that I really like from wool, but this is probably my favorite cotton yarn that I've knit with. It's really a joy. The little bits of yak and merino make it feel a bit more luxe. I love the sort of heathered colorways. It's really beautiful yarn. And boy, was it horrible what I did to it. So let me show you how far I got in my very rough cut. So I don't know if you can tell, you can see places where I sort of lost the pattern, where the pattern changes, where it ripples, where there's holes. Hole up here that I found, hole down here that I didn't. I think that's the right side. Maybe it's not. You can also see it doesn't look that great from the wrong side either, if I'm perfectly honest. Or maybe that's the right side. Who knows? Who knows at this point? But my point is, I put it away because it made me want to knit less. And that was a big thing for me because I was a relatively new knitter. I was still excited about it. You know, I make video games for a living, which sounds really cool, but it's not like you're making something with your hands. And I find it's a key part of my creative process to have my hands occupied enough that my brain isn't overthinking things and my brain sort of gets an opportunity to wander. And that's a big part of how I get the ideas that I need for my job. So I spend a lot of my day on video calls, and I spend a lot of the time on those video calls with the blessing of my boss and everyone I work with, also knitting, which means that I can knit, if you include the time after work where I knit to unwind, more than 8 hours a day. And I just didn't want to do it anymore because I wasn't enjoying that project. And that's when I knew I really had to put it aside. So I made a couple sweaters for my kids for Christmas. It was my first time working with worsted weight yarn. The Via is technically DK, I believe is what it's marketed as, but if you look on Ravelry at the projects that it's used in, and also sort of my experience with it, it feels much more like a sport weight yarn, so that's what I used it as. And other than that, it's all been sport and fingering weight for me. So knitting 2 sweaters in worsted weight felt like a magic trick. They just zoomed off my needles. My kids love the sweaters. I'll put them up here. As you can see, it's pretty much the same pattern. It's the Monica pullover, and it's in just 2 very, very different yarns and colorways because my kids are, as you can see, small adults or large children, depending on how you think of them. And they're sort of beyond the age where they think it's cute to be dressed in matching outfits. However, they're really into the idea of me making them the exact same pattern, but with small tweaks and, of course, radically different colorways that suit their personalities. I like to joke and say my kids are the 2 houses meme, which you can see right here. But we'll get into that in another episode. Anyway, so I took some time off, made those sweaters, made the Christmas sweater for my husband in bulky weight yarn, which felt again like cheating. And I was like, yes, this is great. I'm cooking. I'm really doing it. I'm a sweater knitter, you guys. This is fantastic. So I was like, now I've learned a lot. I've learned how to knit in the round. I've learned how to make sweaters. I didn't fuck up the raglans too much on any of these. Yes. So I'm going to find a new pattern. And this time I know how Ravelry works. So I'm going to look for something that actually has projects. So enter the Heartthrob Henley. Perfect choice. Adam's a Heartthrob. This is Henley. It's all in the round. It's all stockinette. It's gonna be great. And you guys, for a while it was. Like, if you just look at the difference in the, and I know I didn't do this perfectly, but if you see the difference in the evenness and overall texture of these 2 fabrics, in comparison, I kind of crushed it with this. I kind of went off. I didn't do the ribbing because I didn't like the ribbing. I did an I-cord cast on because I just learned how to do it. And B, I wanted it to feel a little bit more like a t-shirt. This is a very thin drapey fabric and I really like that about it. So I'm even I'm out here modifying, you guys. I'm modifying, doing great. Get up to the 3 needle bind off, which is something that I've never gotten right the first time. Nailed it. So I've got the shoulder seams going. Great. So then I have Adam try it on and okay, this is something you should know about me. This is a way in which I'm a bad knitter, but it works out for me. So just hear me out. We listen and we don't judge. I've never made a swatch. Not a real swatch. There have been a couple times when I've knit I don't know, 5 or 6 rows, sort of measured, yeah, that seems like it's about 4 inches, whatever, unraveled, and then just started knitting again. Never made a real swatch. I sure as hell have never blocked a swatch. And I've never had an issue with it. It always works out perfectly for me. And I'm really excited for the moment that this blows up in my face in a big way and I get to use the clip of me saying that I never swatch and it always works out for me in like black and white with like some sad music and maybe like some rain in the background, so that my hubris really comes home to roost. Like, I'm really looking forward to that. Anyway, so I have Adam try it on. It fits beautifully. It fits like I tailored it, like it was made to measure as opposed to part of a pattern. It fit great. So then I'm like, okay, before I get onto the sleeves, I want to make the button band. And I was remembering, I saw this video that Kuda Vakika did about ways to make your knits look more polished. And one of the things she said was that you should go down 1 or 2 needles when you're doing ribbing, and also that twisted rib looks more professional. And I wanted to do twisted rib anyway, because like I said, it's a very thin fabric and I want the button band to be a little bit sturdier. So I did this absolutely beautiful twisted rib button band. I think it looks great. I mean, it's not perfect, but to me, you are perfect button band. This is some of the best work that I've done. You may have noticed something. I held this up before, and when I held it up, there's no button band. It's like a magic trick. I just showed you a button band. Where'd it go? Where's the button band? Where's the button band? Would you like to know where the button band is? It's on the freaking armhole. Put amazing button band on the armhole. I'm really not looking forward to ripping that out. I already weaved in the ends on the button band when I realized where it was. Is Adam ever gonna get a Henley? Should I find a new hobby? Will I ever remember where somebody's arm is on a garment? Who knows? Who knows? Stay tuned for the answer to this and so many other questions, and probably way more questions than answers. So, okay, if this was fun or interesting to you, if you're feeling a little bit better about your own knitting sagas, if you find it entertaining and relaxing to watch me fumble and swear my way through incredibly basic projects, then please like, comment, subscribe, definitely comment. Tell me that you think I should get a different hobby. Tell me that this was comforting to you. Tell me that someone is getting something out of these horrible mistakes that I'm stringing together and calling a sweater. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.